things that I got asked about quite often was cooking on the AT. And honestly, I didn't cook much at all. I didn't cold camp or cold cook or whatever, cold hike, as I've heard. But very often at the end of the day, I was too tired and just didn't want to mess with it. So I would eat tortillas and tuna, or tortillas and spam, or um, granola, fruit if I could get it. Occasionally I would have a Mountain House meal or a dehydrated soup or ramen, and I would cook that. But that was the exception, not the rule. I probably, in hindsight, would have cooked more. Should have cooked more, I don't know. I did okay. I did lose quite a bit of weight. I just couldn't do 5,000 calories a day, no matter what I tried. Um, in the morning, I would usually use my cook set to make coffee or tea, and that was a religion. Every morning I would usually have a cup or two of coffee to get the caffeine, or tea, and occasionally I would cook up oatmeal. Um, I didn't want to have to wash my pots, so I didn't want to cook. It's just a personal choice, but there were times when I would sit down and I would have a Mountain House, and I would use, a cook bag. I'd heat the water up in my camp pot on my camp stove, and I would just pour the hot water into a freezer bag, or back into the package it came in, and I would eat that. The idea was to have as little garbage um, as possible. So, I'd buy a pack of tortillas and 2 or 3 packs of spam, or tuna or salmon, and I would eat that, and that was fine. It filled me up, gave me the calories I needed, and of course I would have snacks, beef jerky, cookies. You know, folks, it's very difficult to eat healthy on the trail. Some people go to extremes, and my hat's off to them. They dehydrate everything and they carry it with them, and that's awesome. I just didn't want to mess with it. I knew that I could get off the trail and get food within 2 or 3 or 4 days. I think the longest I went without going into a town was 5 or 6 days, and I had enough food to get me through. It got a little difficult at the end to, get what I needed as far as nutrition, but it was just the way it worked. My cook set was just the Optimus gas stove. I previewed an alcohol stove, a Trangia, before I left on the hike, but after looking at it closely, having to carry the alcohol, the stove, I had a little collapsible stove that I had purchased. All the stuff is great, but I opted just to go with the Optimus cook system. It runs off the gas. The most popular cook system on the trail is the Pocket Rocket, and it sounds like a jet engine. It's amazing. It's very small, and it runs off gas. And a lot of people were buying the MSR kits and using the Pocket Rocket, and I just chose to go with the Optimus. I bought it well over a year ago, and it's a great little camp set. It's compact, it's lightweight, it's titanium, and it has everything you need right here. And let me show you real quick. I think I previewed this, but it has everything you need. It's lightweight, it packs well, and you have a cup, and it also acts as a lid. I was able to put a half of how dirty that is. I was able to put half of a sponge in there if I needed to clean. Could keep my lighter in there. And this is the pot, okay, with handles on it. It's got a little pour spout right there, and it's got measurements for your water, metric and standard, which is nice. And I could use this for drinking, cooking, and the actual stove itself is very neat. It's small. It attaches to the gas bottle, has your flow valve right here, and of course you have your little pot supports that fold out, and it comes in a nifty little stuff sack. So it was the Optimus. It cost me about, I think, $75 for the entire setup, this entire kit, on sale, and it's a great little cook set. I had absolutely no issues with that cook set at all, except that it makes noise when you walk. If you don't pack your sponges around it, or a tissue or a small rag, when you walk, it makes this noise. It's really irritating after a while. So that was the only thing, and I fixed that by sticking those sponges in there. I mean, what else can I say about it? It's a good, highly rated cook set. It's small. It's got everything you need, everything. And I also took the Optimus titanium spoon, and it's about 10 inches long, and it's titanium, easy to clean. I just threw it in my pack, and I used that as well throughout the entire hike. So that was my cooking kit. Oh, fresh ground coffee, nothing like it. Didn't get this on the trail. It was freeze-dried Taster's Choice, and once in a while someone would offer me a Starbucks dehydrated instant coffee, and that was like, the heavens opened up. Starbucks out here, but it was usually black, and I like it with a little bit of vanilla creamer, but cheers. What I carried as far as food, like I mentioned, I didn't do a whole lot of cooking. When I went to a trail town to get resupplied, I would usually get pretty much the same thing until I got tired of it. I used to get the Idaho instant potatoes, but one pack makes so much, and I just couldn't eat it all. I ended up throwing it away. And after a while, potatoes, there's not too much you can do with potatoes, but they are good, high calories, potassium, vitamins, sodium, and that's an option. I stopped getting them probably after about the first month and a half. I went pretty much to ramen, flour tortillas, peanut butter and jelly. I'd buy a loaf of thin bread, like pita bread, and I'd make half a dozen sandwiches and throw them in a Ziploc bag, and that would be my lunch or my snacks while I'm hiking. I'd keep them right on top of my pack where I could get them easily. Tuna packs, which I actually got tired of about, after the second month on the trail. But I still got them because they were convenient. Salmon, like that was good. And Spam. I grew up in the era that kids ate Spam, and I still liked it. So it was in a small single pack servings, and I would get that, and I would eat those with tortillas. I'd eat maybe one pack of those. I'd cut it in half and put it on a tortilla, and I'd have a cup of tea at night, or water, or whatever, and usually some cookies. I ate honey buns to the point where the thought of them wanted to make me gag, but they're high in calories. Pop-Tarts. I haven't eaten a Pop-Tart since I was a kid, and everybody says, well, Pop-Tarts are high in calories. Well, they are, and they're high in sugar, and sometimes, and they're very heavy. My goodness, a box of those is like a brick. So I would eat a couple of those in the morning with tea if I had to. You always carried hard candy, to help with thirst. A beef jerky, turkey jerky, pork jerky, jerky, whatever, you just beef jerky, some type of jerky, or dried meat, candy bar occasionally, and when I could get it, fresh fruit and vegetables. And I was able to get that amazingly often, either from Trail Angels, or when I went to town and took a Zero or a Nero, or just stopped in to resupply, I'd grab some fresh fruit and vegetables, and I'd grab apples and throw them in my pack, and I'd carry those for a couple days. Tangerines, and a lot of junk food. When I go to trail towns, I'd eat pizza and ribs and beer, and you just junk, and it messes you up. It really kind of screws up your digestive system, and I had to really, it took me a couple of weeks to get my body functioning what I consider normal again after that. So, you know, if you can plan your meals out and take dehydrated foods, you know, vegetables, rice, even meat, ground beef, I saw people do that. Um, that's great because these Mountain House meals and Pantry Pride, or whatever, they're very expensive. I mean, one bag of those is like $9, $10. It used to be like 5 or 6, but now it's smaller portions and double the price. But in a fix, I used to take the largest size I could find, and I'd make 2 meals out of it. And I, you know, had the chicken and beef stroganoff, and I enjoyed those, but it just means I had to cook, and I just wasn't into cooking. I just wanted to sleep at the end of the day. I was that tired. So, but you have to eat. You have to force yourself to eat. You have to stop and eat. And what I would do is I would carry a small pouch on my hip belt, stuffed with granola bars, energy bars, candy, beef jerky, whatever I could fit in there, nuts, granola, and I would snack on that all day. Every time I stopped for a water break or just to take a breather, I would eat something. And that seemed to work pretty well for me, rather than try to stuff myself in the morning with a huge breakfast or a big lunch. Dinner was my biggest meal, and I would usually eat around 5 or 6, and I'd be in bed by 7, out for 12 hours. So, check out the videos on food. You're going to see a lot of the same stuff that a lot of the hikers carry, and some people are really creative, and I tried to be creative. I'd throw something in my ramen, pieces of jerky or spam, and try to make a hiker gourmet meal out of it. But I just, I survived. I ate what I had to eat, and you're probably going to lose some weight, so be prepared for that. Okay, that's pretty much as far as what I ate and how I cooked it, when I cooked it. And we're going to move on to the next area, which I'm going to talk about my pack and how I organized my pack, how I packed my pack, what was in my pack. And I'm going to talk about the advantages of ultralight and the disadvantages of ultralight. And I want you to learn from some mistakes I made, and I'm going to do that